What's going on, guys? This is Empty Box, and this is iRacing with the newly released DW12 Indycar from Indianapolis. Just doing some practice here in this little test drive in the iRacing World Tour Indy 500 practice session here. So this is not a race, but hopefully we'll get some passing and dicing and people to run with. I'll be careful early on here on the access roads. You don't have a lot of downforce at this speed, even though you are going 160 miles an hour. It definitely doesn't feel like it, partly because you run 60 miles an hour faster around the actual banked part of the circuit. But you gotta remember, cold tires, hard tires, not too much downforce. Just gotta be careful. Gotta pace yourself. But right now we only have the Indianapolis configuration, the large speedway configuration. They will be releasing the other versions in the next season's update. They've already confirmed that. Push to pass is also already confirmed, and it's actually already active. Because of the fact that there's no road course version of this car right now, they're allowing you to take this car, the oval version, to any circuit you would like. Which means you get to run ultra low downforce on road courses. Which basically means if you take this thing to Road America, you'll do like 205 miles an hour into turn 5. Feel like, hey, this is kind of like a champ car. Which I know it's not going to happen, but maybe they can allow that to stay in. Maybe you'll be able to select configurations or select different versions of the car. I know that's not going to happen, but yeah, it's wishful thinking because it actually is pretty darn fun to try and wrestle this beast around a road course, in which case I'll probably throw a clip at the end of this video showing that off. But you do receive all versions of this car with one purchase, meaning that for 12 bucks you get a oval car and a road course car. When that does come out, you don't need to buy those individually or anything like that. And if you recently purchased the old generation Indycar within the last 90 days, you get $6 back, which basically makes this car $5 for a car that's going to replace the old car in the official session starting next season, as well as the fact that you still get road course cars, and large oval cars, short oval car. A little bit of everything for $5. That's you. Yeah, you recently bought the car. You know what? It's still a good deal. Just saying. But you gotta be careful with this car. I've seen a lot of people kind of losing it. Myself, I've certainly had a couple of moments with this car, and I'm really not running fast right now, but it's very easy to drive so long as you don't get too aggressive. And yeah, 0x wall scrape. I have removed the Firestone from my right sides. But so long as you don't make any big adjustments or big moves, the car is very stable, predictable, easy to drive, user-friendly, I don't want to say, here on the ovals. If you do get a little bit too aggressive with it, yeah, it'll definitely bite you. This really does feel like a completely different beast than when I last drove the previous generation car around Indianapolis. Yep, we're in the wall. We're in the wall. Oh! You usually do not get that lucky. There's a piece of paper between my right sides and the wall there. Indianapolis in this car, in these cars, is uncompromisingly unforgivable. It is a challenge. I think a lot of people will look at it and say, oh, you're just going left. Yeah. Try doing this 200 times in a race and not run wide in turn one. So we got a little bit of a toe here coming down straightaway. Doesn't seem like there's quite enough, aero wash, which, also plays into slipstreaming and everything like that. Obviously, if you watched the 2013 Indy 500, you would have saw there was a lot of slipstreaming going on, to the point where it was basically impossible to stay out in front, as well as it's pretty much useless to stay out in front because you weren't going to be able to break away. For better or worse, I'm not sure if we'll see that type of racing here in iRacing, and I'm also wondering how this car will actually end up racing in general. Because this car does race quite differently in the real world compared to the previous generation car, which created a lot more pack racing previously, whereas the DW12, a lot more driver input is made. The drivers has a lot more control and does matter a lot more on the ovals in the previous car, which was largely flat-out pack racing. Which, as well as the fact that you also have tire wear, which is something that iRacing typically, and I'm pretty sure still as well, typically has really struggled with, especially with new tire model version 5, which is what this car is on. It drives great, but that tire wear, especially with the intermediate oval packages. For example, if you watch the Texas race in the Indy cars last year, they were doing like 195 in the middle of the corners because the tires are just falling off that much. Which, you think about it with the old car, you're not doing 195 miles an hour ever. If you're doing 195 miles an hour, you're way off pace. But, that also brings the driver back to the forefront, which is why I think that the racing has been so good with this car so consistently. I mean, we're now on 3 years in the real world with this car racing fantastically. Ah! Woo! Be interesting to see how the World Tour events play out. Obviously, this car is brand spanking new, so there's a lot of people all over the place, out of control. Again, so long as you keep it in check and you don't bite off more than you can chew, you're in, a race trim configuration. After all, if you put it in the wall, you're probably done in this car.
Inside. Clear inside.
You're probably going to have a pretty decent result, and that's finishing the race is what's going to matter. And it seems like a lot of people are going to have a challenge with that. But we'll see how that plays out when we end up refining our setups a little bit more throughout the week.
Outside. Keep low. Clear
He's in the wall.
outside.
Don't come back. Just got to know when that guy is running high, he's going to hit the wall, and you got to be careful that it doesn't bounce back into you. You got to pay attention to that. But one thing I will say that I've noticed is if you do slide this car, you can save it if you are fast enough. You got to be really fast, but you can save it. But once you do slide it, you do lose a lot of grip into the next corner. Which obviously, if you overheat the tires, you should have less grip. Which is something that I frankly find iRacing does pretty darn well. So I'll just go ahead and shut up for a lap and finish out this video and let you guys listen to the sounds. They're acceptable. Not the most amazing, but they'll get the job done. So hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.